guys, how's it going? I am here today with a double page layout for you. Now, yes, I'm cutting the pages in a way that you would normally see them orientated the other direction. So, see the two stripes down each side? They are actually the branding strips. But I thought that made a nice natural looking border for my page, so I took an inch off each side on the other end, and it worked perfectly for me. Now, what I did is I fussy cut out one of the pages, and at the moment right here, you're just watching me play with the amount of photos that I have versus space and all that sort of thing. This is me just having an audition dump to sort of figure out where I might want to put things. It doesn't necessarily mean that's where they're going to go exactly, but this is my thought process. So if you're new to my channel, when I typically scrap, I'm Karen, and when I scrapbook, I have an idea in my head. Now, this morning I woke up, and this is how my process works, okay? I woke up this morning at 5 a.m, which is ridiculous. I know, I hear you, especially when it's winter and it was cold and foggy and awful. But I woke up at 5 a.m. and I literally woke up and went, I want to do a double page spread with a big bold title through the center, because I haven't done something like that in forever. And I thought, it's time. So I had these photos of a day when I took my children to White Ridge Farms, which is a local farm, and we had an amazing day. It was fantastic. And I cut out the title, White Ridge Farms, and I wanted it to be big and bold, straight through the center. Watch, you're about to see a big old mistake. Now, when I make a mistake, I leave it in there. Why? Because I don't want you guys to think that this is edited to perfection. There you go. Look at that. Did you see what I did there? I put one letter on there. Just one. I auditioned one letter on there. I live to regret that later on. Don't you worry. Anyway, so what I decided to do today with my title, quite often I will use my CRICUT to save my hands and save me time, and I'll jump on CRICUT Design Space and I'll pick the font that I want and I will cut it out, and I quite often do an offset. Not always, but of late I've really enjoyed the offset look. That's where you end up with a border around your actual letter, in case you don't know. I have some new scrappers on here, guys, so they're new to the world of scrapbooking. Say hi to everyone for me, and be nice. Some of these ladies are brand spanking new to our craft, and they have no idea what half the stuff is that I'm waffling about. So what I wanted to do with my offset was, instead of typically doing a shade, like a blend between colors on the front letter with the white background, blah, 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 what I thought I would do instead is use a stencil, of which I did not have one, I might add. And I wanted to create sort of a cow print, because this was a farm. This wasn't a zoo. And even though I'm using the Paper Rose Little SAVANNAH collection, I wanted it to be a little bit more farm animal. So I jumped on CRICUT Design Space, of which I have a subscription, so it didn't cost me anything. And I just put in the search engine animal print. This one popped up, and I thought, you know what? I can shrinky dink that down enough that it's going to give me the pattern, but not be too big that it's too chunky. So then I decided I would go with, I think I went with Vintage Photo on this one. Yeah, I did. So this color that I'm putting on here is a Distress Oxide, and it's Vintage Photo. Look, I went really heavy-handed on it because I just wanted it to be on and not necessarily all the one tone. Like, you can see there's some bits are lighter than others. But anyway, so this is what I was trying to do in my head. Now, this is a new mat, by the way. That is why it is so sticky. So I just pulled them out, and I wanted the title to have that sort of background font. Now normally, as you can see there, normally I would have all that pattern on the front and have a solid color on the back. I decided this time I'm going to do it the other way around and see how it turns out. And I'll be honest with you guys, I absolutely love it. However, I still have not realized my mistake. And it's not in the spelling. I promise you, it really isn't. So I pulled out, these are my finger daubers. Now, I really like these for two reasons. Okay, they get really juicy really easy, and they don't waste a whole lot of ink getting caught in the brush or the dauber or whatever. So what I decided to do was mix two colors together. Now, it is so easy with distress inks. I will let you know, something that I toyed with a lot in my head was, do I get distress inks? Do I buy VersaFine? What do I want out of an ink? And I'm really glad I ended up going with the Distress Oxides. I went with the Distress Inks and the Distress Oxides. Now I have almost the full collection of both. I am incredibly lucky, and I know that. I am spoiled by my husband. Trust me, I know it. So I went through with two different colors. I used mustard seed and wild honey. And you can see what I'm doing there. Even though it's in fast forward, I'm just daubing it so it's sort of patchy looking. I did realize when I got to the end that it was a little bit too much. So I used my water mister that I've just bought from Amazon. They're only like $10. They are so good. And I just misted it very lightly and got some paper towel just to remove a little bit of that really bright. It was the mustard seed that was a little bit too bright for me. But once it dries completely, I love it. So it turned out beautiful. Now, the reason I'm taking them off like that is because they're not 100% dry, but they're not going to dry 100% staying stuck to the board. Now, because these are new mats, that's why they're so sticky. So, oh yeah, this is what I decided to do. So I was looking at these, and I still at this point had not realized my error, and I thought, and this is where you see a second error pop up. So it's a mistake. Does it ruin everything? No. Did I work around it? Absolutely. Do I show you how I work around it? Damn straight I do. Because that's the Aussie way, mate. We don't give in and we don't give up. We just turn the other cheek and figure it out and go, okay, this is how we're going to do it. So what I decided to do, still not realizing my error, I decided to go around the edge of all the yellow letters. Now, do I make you sit and watch all this? No. But I do want to show you something. See how in the M, I know it's sped up, and if you want me to do a quick bit video to show you, now you can see how I bend the letter right at the join. So where you've got that piece going in, you can see it easier on the M here when I do it. If you fold it and create an arrow and just touch your dauber on it, bingo, works perfect. Not a problem, and you can get right up into that corner and you can get your ink all the way around, not a problem whatsoever. And that's another reason I like the finger daubers, for going around my letters. Whenever I'm doing something like that, that's the finger daubers are my go-to. I do have the other, I have obviously the brushes, which you saw before, but I do have the larger ones that I can change the pad and I can do ink blending and stuff with those, or I can use them to do the edges of any of my pages or my photos. So I don't make you watch all of this. I just take you to just about the end here, and then look, bam, done. Still haven't realized my mistake. So I've gone along. Now it's at this point here, you can probably see one of the mistakes. I've gone around the word farm, around the cow print piece, but I didn't do white or ridge. Why? Because I was on FaceTime and I wasn't fully concentrating. So there's my mistake. However, stay tuned because it doesn't matter in the end anyway. Right about now, you may be able to start to see where my problem is going to end up being. So I was going around all my flowers. This is a little trick that I like to do. Quite often I don't buy ephemera. Now this particular set I bought directly from Paper Rose Studios, and it's an Australian company, and I love supporting Australian, whether they're small business that are stockists or whether they are Australian owned and run companies. I love to support where I can. Now, that being said, I don't always buy ephemera. I don't always buy stickers. So what I sort of lean more towards doing at the moment is buying, terribly sorry, I just yawned. That was so rude. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I lean towards buying paper collections or part thereof the collections that I want to use. And I also always make sure there's a page or two that I can fussy cut and create my own ephemera. So that is something that I like to do. Now, that's what I've done here. I cut up, I can't tell you what page it was. I think it was F and E, I think is what I ended up using. But this is how I lined up. So I've got my T-square ruler just to make sure whenever I put down photos that are all the same size, all the same dimension, I use my T-square ruler just to make sure that they are evenly spaced top to bottom. I didn't want these to all be perfectly like a centimetre between them or anything like that, but I wanted them to be lined up with the one below it because I don't know why that does my head in. I know why. I have OCD. Okay. I'm medicated for it, and my other daily medication is scrapbooking. So, okay. So now I'm at the point where I'm committing to where these flowers are going. Okay? I'm just doing it. I'm sticking them down, and this is where you can use your own judgment. See how there's little pieces of leaves there? Now they were little bits that normally you would just chuck them out, but don't do that. They're gold because they are the bits that you can just tuck in and you don't need a whole leaf. Like see that there? That particular leaf there that I just put in, that was on the edge of the paper. Cut it out. Once you go around it with a bit of ink, it makes it look separate from the page. It allowed, here you go, here's my problem. Ready, set. Where in God's green earth do you think you're going to fit White Ridge Farms on there at that size? Seriously. It hit me after all that work on the title because I wanted the title to be the bold bit. Seriously. I could have slapped myself. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really, Karen? Unbelievable. What a rookie error. But here's where I show you how to fix it. Grab a piece of wax paper and I'm putting farm. I don't even have the name of them anymore. They're like foam stickers. They were from, I can tell you I got them from Spotlight, and they were in the thicker department, but they're not called thickers. So I don't know what they're actually called, and I'm down to the last little bit of them, but the yellow matched the yellow ink that I just used. So I run a little bit of brown around the outside edge, and I thought, yep, that works. And it's just about, so I'm putting down the main title, lining it all up, tucking it under the leaves, all that sort of bizzo. And it was about here that I realised, you see how I paused there? I realised that I didn't go around the edge of white and ridge, which would have made it pop off the page even more. But you know what? Too bad. It's all good. Is it worse for it? No. Is it what I planned on doing? No. But it still looks fine. So if you make a little mistake like that, don't cry a river over it. Trust me, everything will work out just fine in the end. So my title, I actually used a 1.11 offset, and I used the CRICUT Sans font. So I will link that all, I'll put that all down below in my description. And yeah, and that was it. And then I did go around the very border with ground espresso, which is a distress. That was an oxide. All the inks I used were oxides. So I'll have them all written down below so you can see the color combinations. And as you can see me here, I'm kicking myself. I was so not happy that I did that. If you're wondering about the stencil, that was actually the Sizzix stencil film that I used and tried out, that I created the cow print stencil with, by the way. So here are the close-ups. If you would like to see the close-up photos, they will be over on my Facebook wall, on my Facebook group. The link will be below. If you're not already over there, feel free to pop over there and jump in the group and have a chit chat to each other. Let me know if there's anything that you would like to see more of, see less of. You want to see more of my mistakes? Don't you worry, stick around, guaranteed there will be more. I have been asked today to do a page with hexagons, so guess what? I'm up for that because I love me a good shape. Thanks very much, guys. Chat to you soon. Thanks for that. Bye.